Hi modern fashion designers, welcome back to class. This is Modern Woman Apparel. I want to say a very big thank you to all my returning subscribers, and if this is your first time here, you're highly welcome. Please join us by hitting the subscribe button, turn on your notification bell so as to get notified whenever I upload a new video. Thank you. So guys, in this class we're going to be making this beautiful crop top here. This is actually beginner friendly, so if you're a beginner here, this is something you can make with ease, you understand. So we also have the making of this beautiful pants on this channel, and the link to the pant tutorial is on the comment section. So that without wasting much of your time, let's get right into the tutorial of the day. So today's special warm hug goes to Ebele. Thank you so much, Ma'am Ebele, for taking time to share your thoughts and feedback. We love you. So for this style, if you're making use of an African print, you need at least 1.5 yards of fabric. But if you're using a fabric that is 60 inches by length, then 1 yard is just okay for it. So guys, let's dive right into the tutorial of the day. Now for this, there's no zipper on this because you can see that there is a slit on the front area which will enable the head to pass through. So that is why we are going to be cutting the back and the front parts together. So this is the front panel on fold, and this is also the back panel on fold. Now, how do you know the amount of fabric to put on fold? Just divide your bust circumference by 4 and add 3 inches to it. So here, this is my starting line. So here what I have is the length of the top plus additional 2 inches, and I've already come down here by 1 inch for the starting line, and what I have left is the top length plus 1 inch for the hemming allowance. Now to start, what I'm going to do is to go out here. So we are making markings for both the front and back parts, right? So I'm using 3.5 inches for the neck width, and I'm going to be making use of 4 inches for the neck depth. If this is a small size, you can use 3 by 3.5, and if this person is on the bigger size, use 4 by 4. Do you understand? And it also depends, if the person wants the neck depth to be lower, then you know you are working based on your client's preference. So I'm going to connect. So this is 3.5 by 4. And for the back, I'm going to be making use of 1.5 for the neck depth. So I'll just connect. The next thing is to take the shoulder divided by 2. So I'm working with shoulder of 16 inches. 16 inches divided by 2 is 8 here, and I'll come down by 8.7 for the chest line. That's the armhole depth. So to get the chest line, divide the bust circumference by 6 plus 2.5. So on this chest line here, also make sure that I have the shoulder divided by 2 on that line, and I'll connect. Now for this, because we are cutting the back and the front together, we are going to be using 1 inch for shoulder slope. And what we'll do next is to divide what we have here and here by 2. Make a mark on the midpoint, and we'll go in from there by ½ inch. I will go in from there by ½ inch. So on the chest line, I'm going to be dividing the bust circumference by 4. So I'm working with 37 divided by 4 is 9.25, and I'm going to be adding 2.5 inches to it. I'm using 2 inches for ease and ½ inch for seam allowance. So if you want, you can add up to 1 inch for your seam allowance. So instead of 2.5, you can do 3 inches. After that, you go ahead and connect the armhole curve. After that, what I'll do is to go to the length. So remember, I told you that what I have here is the length plus 1 inch for seam allowance. So I'm using 18 inches as the length plus 1 inch for seam allowance, and that will make it 19 inches. So I'm having 9.25 plus 2.5, and that will give me 11.75. So I'm going to remove 1 inch from the 11.75, and I'll have 10.75. So here I'm going to impute 10.75, and I'll connect. So the next thing is to add our seam allowance on the neckline, because we are going to be turning this with facing. We have already added by the sides and on the down, so we'll just add to the neckline, ½ inch here, ½ inch on the shoulder, and ½ inch on the armhole. Can you see that? ½ inch on the armhole. Also come to the front neckline and also add the same ½ inch. Now we are going to cut this out. So we are going to start by cutting out the back neckline, and after that to cut out the front neckline. So let's separate the back from the front, and we are going to cut out the front neckline. Now, after cutting the front neckline, what we are going to do is to determine, so what you're going to do now is to determine how deep you want the slit, the front slit, to be. So for the slit, I do not want it too low, so I'm going to be stopping it here. So from here, I'm going to be stopping it at 4 inches, depends on how deep you want it to be. And here I will go in by 1.5, that is so that when I open it up, I'll have 3 inches, depends on how open you want it to be. Now we are entering in by 1.5 based on the style we are working with, but you know there's also a slit that you do not have to enter in. Just make that slit here. If that's what you want, just from here create a slit. Or if you want to have what we have there exactly, then you have to go in by at least 1 to 1.5, depending on how open you want that part to be. So from there we are going to curve here into the 1.5 this way, and we'll cut it out. And guys, before we cut it out, we are going in, so we are going in by ½ inch before cutting there out. So don't worry, I know how to maneuver there. When I get here, I know how to place my hand to stitch this. Do you understand? So guys, this is it. Now what we are going to do is to create facing for this, but before we go ahead with that, we are going to cut out the sleeve. So guys, for us to create our sleeve, the first thing we are going to do is to measure. So we are starting from the shoulder slope, the actual shoulder slope, not the seam allowance. So from there we are going to measure this very line, not the second line. So we're going to measure what we have there. So I have 10.5 here. Now what I'm going to do is to bring in my sleeve fabric. So this 10.5 I have here, what I'm going to do is to remove 1 inch from it, and I'll be left with 9.5. So what I'm going to do now is to bring in my sleeve panel. So what I have here is my sleeve length plus 2 inches. I'm coming down here by 1 inch first to get the starting line, and the rest will be my sleeve length plus 1 inch. I'm using sleeve length of 10 inches plus 1 inch. So what I have from here to here is 11 inches. Can you see? Now it depends on how long or how short you want your own sleeve to be. Now what we are going to do is to start taking markings for our sleeve. So first of all, what we are going to be getting the biceps length. So how do you get it? What you need to do is to divide your bust circumference by 12 plus 1 inch. So this bust circumference we are working with is 37. 37 divided by 12 is 3, plus 1 inch is 4. So from this starting line, I'll come down by 4 inches. Now on this line, we are going to impute what we have on the armhole here, what we measured on the armhole here, minus 1. So remember we got 10.5, so 10.5 minus 1 will be 9.5. So you can see what I have here is 9.5. So what I will do is from this point I'll connect to this point. So when I measure what I have on this slanted line, you will see that I still have my 10.5, right? So you see that I still have my 10.5. So what we are going to do is that 10.5, we are going to divide it by 2, and we'll have 5.25. So this is my 5.25, and on this 5.25 we'll divide again by 2 and get the midpoint. And also remember, here is also 5.25, so we'll also put the midpoint here. Now the next thing to do is on this first mark here, we are going to go up by 0.75, and on this one here we'll go down by 0.5. So here 0.75, here 0.5, and we'll connect with our curve ruler. So we are connecting from here, so we are connecting this way into this middle one and back to this half inch mark, and to this 10.5, to this line here. Can you see? So this is how to connect it. So the next thing we are going to do on top is just to add a half inch for joining. Do you understand? So add your half inch for joining. So on the sleeve length here, what I'm going to do is to divide the circumference around the sleeve length by 2. So here I have 12 inches. I'm going to divide it by 2, and I'll have 6 inches. So this is 6 inches here. I'll be adding 1 inch for ease. If you want it to be very firm on you, can leave to add 1 inch. So I'm adding 1 inch for ease and another 1 inch for seam allowance.
So guys, I added 2 inches, which is 1 inch for ease and 1 inch for seam allowance. But while stitching this, I made use of just half inch for seam allowance, which means that out of the 2 inches, I use 1.5 for ease and half inch for seam allowance. Also note that your ease allowance depends on how free and how fitted you want this to be, and you have seen the fitting on me already, and you now decide if you're going with the exact figure or you want to add or reduce your ease allowance. So after cutting the sleeve, the next thing we are doing now is to cut our facing for the front and back neckline.
So for the facing for the back, you really do not need to go in deeper. So what I have here is just 3.5 by 3.5. So for the front, this is also the facing for the front. You can also decide to use lining for this, but it's not really necessary. So this is also the facing for the front. Here is also 3.5, matching the shoulder of the back. So for this, you can also decide to come down 3.5 below the v-neck or the slit. Do you understand? So the first thing we have to do is to turn the necklines together. So we are going to place the facing and the main fabric right side facing each other this way, and we are going to stitch the neckline into the slit and back to the neckline, leaving the shoulder part. Do you understand? So the same thing you do to this one, you also do it to the back part. Here you have to open it up right side facing each other this way, and you're going to join. So you're going to join with your half inch, and after that make sure to notch the neckline of the two, both the front and the back, and iron it. So after joining the neckline, you give tiny notches on the neckline and turn it over and take it to your ironing table and iron it properly. And what you need to do is, here you can see this part, take it to your weaving machine if you have one, and overlock the edges. Now this is also the front part here, so you notch. So after this, you can see that I notched and turn it over. Now what I'm going to do is also to take it to my weaving machine and weave this edge of the facing before ironing it. But in a case whereby your weaving machine is not close by, all you need to do is still to go ahead and iron. So while ironing, you need to put your hemming gum in between the facing and the main bodice, just on this part where you have the stitch. You have to put your hemming gum there and iron it, so that your hemming gum will help keep the facing and the main fabric in place. So guys, after ironing, this is what we have. So this is the front, and you can see the back part here. Now what we are going to do is to join the shoulders, and as you can see, I've already joined one shoulder. So I want to show you how to do the second one. So I've already attached one shoulder, can you see? So I want to show you how to go about the second one. So what you're going to do is to open this up, can you see? So open up the neckline this way. So for the front and the back, you're going to open it up and you're going to merge this. See, right side facing each other, front and back, right side facing each other, and you're going to pick the bodies. So this is the bodies here, can you see the two of it? And what we have here is the facing. So you're going to bring the two facing together this way. Now you're going to pin. So see the same line we have on the neckline, you're going to pin it, merge it together and pin. So after pinning, to make sure that the two seam lines match each other, what you're going to do is to start stitching. You stitch straight this way. You understand? You stitch it straight. So you can see what I have here. Can you see? You stitch it straight down from the either from here to here or from here to here, picking both the bodies and the facing. So I'm going to do that and we'll continue. So after stitching, this is what we have. So you just flip it over to this place, to the right side, can you see? So this is the inside and this is the outside, can you see? Now all you need to do is to lay it this way. Also put your hemming gum here, can you see? So if you're a beginner here, this is what hemming gum is. You put it this way and you're going to iron it flat. So while ironing, make sure that the front part, sure that the right part of this top is not wrinkled, is not squeezing. Do you understand? It is best you iron from the right part. So you put it this way and you're going to just iron it. So guys, I'm going to go ahead with that. So for the sleeve here, you already know we have cut the sleeve. All you need to do is to notch the center of your sleeve. Now you're going to attach it. So from here, from the notch is going to be resting on your shoulder line. So from there you attach with 1/2 inch to this part and also attach with 1/2 inch to this part. So do that on the both sleeve. You can see that I also went ahead to hem. We left 1 inch for the hemming, so I folded it 1/2 inch into two places and hemmed it. Do you understand?
So after joining the sleeve, this is what we have. And the next thing I'm going to do is to run 1/2 inch all through. Remember I told you that for the sides I use 1/2 inch. So I'm going to be using 1/2 inch to run all the way from the sleeve to the hemline.
And after that, you weave the down part, or if you want to turn it twice, like 1/2 inch twice, then you don't have to weave it. But if you want to just use 1 inch to hem here, then you have to weave it first before you fold it once. Do you understand? And that will be the end of it. So I'll go ahead and stitch here and also hem the down part. So if there's any other part that needs to be weaved, I will weave it and also give this a good press.
So guys, this is the final look of our top. Thank you so much for watching. You can also rock this top with any high waist garment of your choice, not just particular to this pants. But just in case you want to learn how to make this beautiful pants, we have the tutorial on this channel and you'll find the link to the tutorial on the comment section. Thank you so much for watching. Please do not forget to like, comment and share this video. I'll see you on the next one. I'm Modern Woman. Bye for now.